Hello, my name is Neil Kelleher. I'm the author of sensationalyogaposes.com, and in this video I'll be going over the yoga pose called Mayurasana. In Mayurasana, you're actually bringing your elbows together in front of the belly, and your belly presses into your elbows. So one of the first points is to squeeze your elbows together, or be able to squeeze your elbows together with the fingers pointing down. So for women this might be a bit difficult. You might have to squeeze your breasts together in order to get your elbows in front of the hands. Another important point, and this is for everybody, is rather than having your thoracic spine bent backwards, you may find it easier if you bend your thoracic spine forwards. So what are some exercises you can do to make this action easier to get the point? First of all, practice lifting your chest and bending the thoracic spine backwards, and then bending it forwards. So opening your chest and then relaxing it. Then once you can feel the difference there, and one point for feeling that is when you're bending your thoracic spine backwards, you may find the thoracic spinal erectors are active. You can feel the squeezing there. You may also feel the spaces between your ribs opening up. So that's a feeling that you probably don't want when trying to do Mayurasana. Instead, you want the opposite of bending forward. And this can feel like you're drawing your ribs towards your pelvis, a squeezing down or in of your rib cage. So that can be the foundation for the arms. The next thing, in order to get the elbows together in front of the chest, you probably want to spread or protract your shoulder blades. And to do that, bring your shoulders forward relative to the rib cage. So you can practice that as well. You can practice with your chest open, bring your shoulders forwards and back, doing it slowly, more like this. Then do the same thing with your spine, your thoracic spine bent forwards. Spread your shoulder blades, and then relax. Spread your shoulder blades and relax. And from the back, what will it look like as you move your shoulders forward? If you focus on the inner edges of my shoulder blades and actually feeling your own as you do the exercise. As you move your shoulders forward, feel your shoulder blades, the inside edges of your shoulder blades spreading. And in particularly, if you can feel the bottom point, you'll notice that the bottom point of the shoulder blade spreads even more the more you bring your shoulders forwards. And that's because the collarbone, which attaches to the top of the shoulder blade, as you bring your shoulders forward, that acts as a sort of brake for the top of the shoulder blade. So the only part of the shoulder blade that can then move easily outwards is the bottom point. So the point is, bring your shoulders forward, so then with your rib cage bent forward, so then you can bring your elbows together in front of your rib cage. Because your belly is actually going to be resting on your elbows, what you want to do as well, what you should be able to do is engage your rectus abdominis, perhaps even your obliques. And that goes nicely with the bending the rib cage forward action. You can actually use these muscles to help pull your rib cage down. So it's a combination of squeezing your rib cage inwards to make it smaller, tighter, bent forwards, but also using your abdominals to pull your sternum towards your pubic bone, or if you like, pulling the side ribs here towards the front of the hip bones, front of the pointy bits of your pelvis. So if you start with your rib cage lifted, you can focus on engaging your abs to pull your rib cage down, your pubic bone up. And that can be with an exhale, then relax, exhale, and then relax, and then try it while breathing. So try to maintain the crunch, inhale, exhale. And what you may find is you can breathe into your back ribs while doing that. So engage the front of the body, breathe into your back, exhale, or even into your side waist or your side ribs, inhale. Try and keep your abs engaged. Exhale. Next, do the same action. Shoulders forward, elbows in. Try to pull your elbows into your waist. Keep your abs engaged. Inhale. Exhale. You can make the neck long. Inhale. The back of the neck long. Exhale. Because in this pose you have to move forward in order to get your feet off of the floor. Some of you may find it difficult to move far enough forward that you get your center of gravity actually over your hands. So a quick trick is to actually shift your center of gravity with respect to your pelvis. And an easy way to do that when you're trying the pose is to bend the knees. So if you can do lotus, you can put your knees in, your legs in lotus. and then lie down like that, and then go into Mayurasana. It is then relatively easy just to lift your knees, and then from there you can work towards gradually shifting your weight more forward so that you can do it with legs straight and then lift your feet. So for a beginner, you start in a kneeling pose, lift your hips, palms together, fingers will point towards your feet. Move your shoulders forward relative to your rib cage, bring your elbows together, and then rest your belly on your abs. And then here again, crunch, draw your sternum towards your pubic bone so your abs are engaged. Move your knees out to the sides like that. You may find just there you can lift your knees relatively easily. And if you haven't got the flexibility in your inner thighs to move the knees out like that, then start with your knees back. So for this, for limited flexibility people, place your palms in front of your knees, maybe a couple of inches. Bend your elbows. As you bend your elbows, you're going to have to go forward. You may find that you feel like you're going to do a face plant, so put the crown of your head on the floor rather than your nose. Elbows together. You may get a head rush here. Crunch your ribs towards your pubic bone to engage the abs, and then from here move your knees back. I'm going to put my chin on the floor. Notice my knees are bent with the shins upward, so that moves my center of gravity so it is over my hands. And then from there, abs engaged, fingers pressed down, whoops. I'm going to lift my knees. Ooh. So again, obviously I haven't done this in a while. One of the problems I had was actually doing side to side balance, so keeping my left hand might press down or my right hand. So probably the reason for that, for the right-left instability, was that I wasn't keeping control of my legs. Even though my knees were bent, my legs were wobbling all over the place. So what may be an answer to that, so rather than having the legs sort of just wobbling all over the place, maybe bring at least the feet together. You could also try it with the knees together. So in that case, palms together. I'm going to spread my fingers out just so that, like so that my pinkies are touching, or try to. So here I'll bend my spine forward, my shoulders. So what you could do, bend your spine forward, engage your abs, move your rib cage up relative to your shoulders. So that action. So do that slowly so the shoulder blades spread, and then bend the elbows. So I'm keeping my feet together. I'm going to move my rib cage forward and lift my knees. So there, that was a little bit better. So one other point, so I'll try to do the full pose again in a moment. One other point that's important, and this is easier if you're doing the lotus version of the pose, use your ass. So if you're lying down, excuse the sounds, so use your butt muscle. You can try lifting one leg, so your butt muscle engages, so that actually lifts your leg, and then you try the other leg. Feel your butt engage, maybe the hamstrings engaged in order to lift the leg, and then try both together. And even with knees bent. So that's the feeling, that part of the other feeling that you want when you're doing this pose. So you could try it with your spine bent forward, elbows pressing into your belly, and start with your hips back. So this could simulate with the knees on the floor, having the knees on the floor. Then see if you can use your butt to push your hips forward while keeping your spine bent forward. And that's similar to the feeling of lifting your legs when you're on the floor. Here again, memorize the feeling. What does it feel like to have your butt active? Memorize the contractive feeling in your butt as you move your pelvis forward in this case. When you're actually in Mayurasana, the feeling will be using this action to lift your knees off of the floor. So I'm going to do the full pose again, knees straight. So my spine is bent forward. As I go forward, notice the position of my shoulders relative to my rib cage. They're not back, because that makes it difficult to keep my elbows together. My shoulders are forward relative to my rib cage. Abs are engaged. You could try it one at a time. Lift one leg, feel the butt engaging. Lift the other leg, feel the butt engaging. Then go forward, lift both. There. So that's another thing. How do you move forward? So if you go to this position again, this is relatively easy to get the feeling of moving forward, whoops, and back. And actually this is probably my favorite variation of the pose. Moving forward, you can feel the opening of the elbows. It's a little bit difficult to feel that because the elbows are supporting the belly. So what you could practice doing is with the elbows off of the belly, move your ribcage forward. And what it can do is if you have something in front of you, you can look, I'm looking at the baseboard there. I'm reaching my eyes towards a baseboard and then coming back. Reaching my eyes towards a baseboard and then coming back. And you can do the same thing, even if you can't see the baseboard, if you can just see at the top of your eyes, something in front of you. You can engage your abs, elbows together, reach forward, whoops, and back. Reach forwards and back. Let's try moving forward, inhale. So inhale and back, exhale. Inhale, fingers pressed down, back, exhale. Inhale, fingers pressed down, exhale. Inhale, fingers pressed down, hold it, keep breathing. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So you can see there, I was holding it a little bit better. While I was breathing, I was even as I was reaching my legs back, I was focusing on keeping even pressure on my palms and my fingertips. And just from my experience right there, I'd say that would probably be the easiest way to get into Mayurasana is by slowly reaching your legs back. In this position, I can feel my belly pressing into my arms. I'll shift forward. Most important, I'd suggest when starting off, shift your weight forward as far as possible so you feel your weight focused in the heel of your hands. Then with your weight forward, it's easier, your ribcage and head act like a counterweight, so that it is then easier to lift your legs off of the floor. Once you lift your legs, you can try lifting your legs high. You may find it helps to activate the buttocks, or just focus on lifting your knees as high as you can, but gradually. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much.